Welcome to Dead Man Talking. Before we start off, I would just like to say a huge thank you to everyone in the last few days that's liked, commented, shared. The response has been overwhelming, truly has. And some of those comments, you know what guys, thank you so much for your feedback and your kind words of support. I love the direction we're taking the channel. So much so, I've decided tonight I'm going to quickly chuck out a 3 terrifying tales compilation pertaining to a Dogman werewolf experience. First story is entitled Large Dark Man Thing About 30 Feet Up in a Tree Last Night. I just need to vent. So, I'm using an old throwaway account for this, as I don't want to link my Reddit account to this. My fiance will occasionally browse Reddit on my main account and I really don't want her to know this. Last thing I need is for her to start freaking out about this. You see, we moved into a new house / neighbourhood last August. When I say new house, I mean we built in a brand new neighbourhood. As you can probably tell by the username, we're in South Kansas. And though it's fairly urbanised where we live, our neighbourhood backs up to undeveloped woods and uninhabitable marshes and wetlands. So, though we're close to the city, we're kind of on the cusp of unexplored area. This is just to give you a little picture. This happened to me last night. We are in the process of buying a new mattress. The first we bought was horrible and I've never slept worse. So, right now, we've been sleeping in our guest room. We haven't gotten around to putting blinds up in there yet, as it never gets used, so we don't see a point to buy them. Other things have needed priority. This room is in the back of our house, with 2 very large windows on the 2nd floor. Our backyard backs up to some undeveloped plots, and some are developed, with the other side of those plots being forests. We have very tall pines on these plots. Some are at least over 50 to 60 feet tall and very thin. They wave in the wind, and during Hurricane Matthew, it was amazing to watch them bend sideways and sway without breaking. This is of course just to give you more of an idea about the setting. Sorry for rambling, so back to last night. We're laying in bed. It's around 11:30 or so, and she's already asleep. I'm plugging my phone in and setting my alarm to call it a night. As I'm adjusting to the darkness, I can see one, and only one, of the tall pines about 50 feet from our house bending and swaying. My eyes are just enough that I can make out the shape of a figure grasping onto it about 3/4 of the way up, roughly 30-40 feet up, and about 15 feet higher than our window. All I can tell you was very large. I don't know an exact size, but I'm 6'2", and if I imagine myself up there, then it was larger than me. It had to be, because it had such broad shoulders, long arms and muscular legs. This sounds dumb, but picture The Rock in a scuba diving suit. That was the outline. I couldn't tell if it was hair or skin that covered it, just that it was very black, very black. I couldn't see eyes or facial expressions, but the silhouette of the body with the light on it gave me a very uneasy feeling that it really was just looking straight into our room through the window. It just hung onto the tree, both legs on the trunk and one arm holding on, the other arm just hanging down. The tree just rocked with it, and its posture didn't move as it swayed the tree. I tried to sneak a picture on my phone, but it's just so dark, nothing came out. I did not want to use the flash because I told myself that the room we're in is pitch black. Even though there's no shades, as long as I stayed still, it wouldn't see me. So screw using flash and possibly pissing this thing off. It sounds cliche, but it was probably only minutes that felt like an eternity. It just swayed on that pine and never broke its pose. Then it was gone. It just dropped down off the tree below my sight line from the window and was gone. I was as scared as hell, so I didn't want to get up from the bed to see where it went. For all I know, it could have been in the backyard below my window, waiting for me just to look down. Sorry for the long-winded post. I slept horribly last night after this. Work was miserable today, and I thought if maybe I vented about this, then maybe it will help me sleep. As I am writing this, I'm looking out the window now, and the trees are straight and calm. Hopefully, this is just a one-time occurrence. But if anyone has any ideas on what it is, really, I'm all ears. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Let's get straight into story number 2. It's entitled My Werewolf Skinwalker Experience. So, this is the first time I'm actually sharing this experience with anyone, and it's taken me quite a while to be able to tell it, because ever since it's happened, I haven't been the same. I don't, sleep well, constant nightmares, have been generally getting more ill and just being traumatized. My brother as well, with whom it occurred. Last summer, in July, I was visiting my brother, who happens to live in northern Michigan, in a town called Rapid City. The place itself is pretty close to the Traverse State Forest area, in which a long road runs through it called Supply Road. This road has thick forests and brush on both sides, with occasional farms. We had went down south to Fife Lake, which is only about a 30-minute drive from where he lived. He wanted to show me around the area and the lake itself, and have some fun with photography. It was about 9 PM when we finally decided to call it a day, and it was getting pretty dark at this point. On the way back, we're both like, fuck it, let's drive through the Traverse State Forest area for a more scenic route, even though it is out of our way. We both love the woods and going through scenic routes, and I loved getting to see new parts of Michigan. As we pulled onto Supply Road, it didn't seem more than 7 or so minutes before we had our experience with whatever the hell we saw. Going north on this road, on the left side of the road, it's about 10 or so feet of a clearing with just dirt and grass before it hits thick brush and trees. It was a little after 9 PM at this point, and as we're driving, I'm in the passenger seat, I noticed this large, black-like dog on the side of the road, but something wasn't right. It looked like it was crouched down, as a human would, just waiting to jump out or something. It wasn't looking over in our direction, but you could tell its head was absolutely canine-like. As we got closer and the lights actually started to shine on it, it immediately turned its head towards and stood up as it made this horrible hissing-like sound. I don't know how else to describe it, but both my brother and I turned sheet white at this point and had slammed on our brakes. About 30 feet away from us on the side of the road, standing, was this. I don't even know what to call it. I want to say werewolf, because that's, the only thing that really describes what it looked like. Maybe it was a skinwalker, I don't know. This beast had piercing, sharp yellow eyes that some reason didn't reflect at all when the light hit them, but they almost seemed to glow on their own, which was creepy on itself. This thing had a longer snout and very sharp pointed ears and was massively tall. When it hissed at us, you could see how sharp and massive its teeth were and how fast it stood up scared us both. As we had startled this thing honestly looked like something out of a horror movie. And if CGI actually looked real, we had our windows rolled down the way home, and we smelled what really I can only describe as if you mix garbage, decaying flesh, and then some wet dog together. We didn't really smell it until after it had stood up and we had slammed on our brakes. This thing was easily 8 or 9 feet. I would say with a humongous build. This thing wasn't bulky per se, but it was big and was extremely lean. It looked like an extremely masculine and lean human male body, I didn't see any genitalia. This thing was very shaggy and hairy, with finger-like claws, like pretty much you'd see in a typical werewolf movie. I didn't get a chance to stare at the feet or anything, as I was completely motionless staring at this thing. We only got to stare at it for what seemed like a few seconds before it let out this horrible scream that shook me and my brother to the core. It immediately started to pace towards our truck aggressively, with its claws baring and teeth baring, as if it was extremely aggressive and ready to kill. Me and my brother screamed at the top of our lungs and floored it as hard as we could. He literally speeded all the way home, and we didn't say a word the rest of the way. We didn't sleep at all that night, and I haven't been the same person ever since. What I saw that night truly terrified me so bad, and I'm sharing this with people because I hope they can educate themselves, and I know what's out there, or that it will help someone speak up and share their experience and not worry about ridicule. Wow, hope you guys enjoyed that. I absolutely loved reading that story, it's brilliant. Get straight into story number 3. I thought it's only right we end this compilation with a story entitled The Beast of Bray Road. This took place in Claiborne, Texas in October 2016 at around 1 a.m. Me and my girlfriend were sitting outside on my dad's porch smoking a cigarette. It was dark, so it was pretty hard to see. I also want to make note that my dad lived on about 300 acres of vacant land, and he did for a fact have many wild animals that roamed at night, as well as cattle. So, we were pretty used to seeing wild hogs, coyotes, raccoons, and even wild turkey approach the house once the sun went down. This didn't seem like any of those things. There were no streetlights, and the closest neighbour was about 2 football fields away. We noticed something creeping through the grass about 30 feet away from the porch. The movement reminded us of a coyote, but this, whatever it was only about 1.5 feet tall and anywhere from 7 to 10 feet long. Its body was literally pressed almost completely against the ground, and its head turned towards us, almost as if to say it was stalking us as prey. We were completely freaked out when we noticed, so we grabbed our cigarettes and shoes, but that's when things got even fucking freakier. The thing had been crawling towards a medium-sized tree, and as it passed behind the tree, it didn't reappear on the other side. Could it have climbed the tree? Or perhaps stood upright behind the tree, hiding and watching? I didn't stay around to find out, to be honest. All I know is the footsteps stopped, so it wasn't running away out of view. My girlfriend suggested we go get a flashlight and try to scare it off, to which I responded, "Are you fucking crazy? Get inside now." After searching Wikipedia, I thought it might have been the Beast of Bray Road, or maybe a werewolf. Truly guys, any ideas or thoughts as to what this could be will be really appreciated. And that concludes story number 3, guys. A short one there, but I thought still quite a creepy experience. Please do like, comment, share, and remember folks, be safe, not sorry.